love each other. And I just want to say that Erica has been a mainstay and a member of One on Trans Experience since its inception the second time here. And such a great support, not only to the group, but to many members in the group. Okay.
Thank you. Everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, we hear you.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. Transgender Day of Remembrance is here once again with an ever-growing list of tragedies to recall and respect. In past years, I've spoken of visibility and the belief that if the world could see us, that it would in turn respect us. Ironically, the visibility has indeed increased, but so has the violence, the tragedy, and the repudiation from those who believe our existence is unnatural. You might think with public awareness of certain people on television and news, support from certain politicians, both here in our state and the federal government, that the cloud of oppression is lifting. Is it because we are now more visible that we have attracted more enemies? If you look how the Houston Equal Rights Ordinance went down this month, or the failure of our state Senate to pass agenda, which could make attacks of violence against transgender people a hate crime, we find opposition everywhere we turn. While there have been some modest gains in rights and freedoms and protections for us, there remains great inequity. Something that I fear is being pulled over for some minor transgression while driving, perhaps being arrested for some made-up reason, or bias, or finding myself in custody and either jailed with men or by myself for my own protection, quote unquote. There are a few laws protecting us from this, and I know some people who have suffered through this scenario this year. The abuse and fear from police. You see, the country really hasn't caught up to us just yet. There's also a great deal of rejection in families. Many of our own families will refuse to recognize us for who we are. They may try to forcibly change us, or they may throw us out or throw us away. Many use religion as the basis for their mistrust and their refusal and understanding. And this leads to much depression and suicide. Another thing that I notice going on right now is infighting. There's infighting within the transgender community and within the gay community. And while there are sure to be different opinions and policies, ideas, inclusions, and protections, there are often those that are tearing each other down. For example, transgender people who excoriate Caitlyn Jenner for being rich, white, and conservative. Or when they rip Zoe Tur on Inside Edition for promulgating tropes about transgender people, and when we distrust one another's approach and assassinate their character on social media. These are the things that are pulling us in the wrong direction. This is the reality of our world, and sadly, it's still a dangerous place for one to be transgender. While our pride and visibility are surely on the rise, we have to do more to tamp down the infighting and attack the problems of prejudice and discrimination. How then do we do this? We must learn to stick together, and the glue is love. So let me tell you a story of my new family. We are a unique family for sure. The four of us all met each other here in this room at various points in time. Our late meetings bring a great number of community members together to bring about positive change and give support to each other. All of us, myself, my partner Sophia, and our two teenage kids are all transgender, but we weren't always together. We all lacked support from our original families. When I built a relationship with Sophia, we had discussed what things would have been like if we had children. It's hard to imagine that scenario, but we thought it never left our minds. At the same time, our teenage kids were out on the street. They were out of school, surfing from couch to couch, or sleeping wherever they might find shelter, even if it was outside. Turns out the shelter system for youth is not very supportive for transgender youth, and those that are have very few beds. The kids had been rejected and abused by their families for being their true selves. They at least had the sense to network with the people here. And then the day came that I got a phone call at work. I remember it so clearly. "Hi, Erica. We just got off the bus back from South Carolina." "Yeah, no. Things didn't work out down there at all. Anyway, we're back in New York City, but none of the shelters have room for us. Can we come out and stay for a few days?" My immediate response, "Get on the next train to Hicksville. Sophia will pick you up." I just found out last week, literally, that we saved their lives. Apparently, that may have been the last call they were going to try. They had tried several. If we had said no, or I had failed to pick up the phone, maybe we would have added their names to this year's list due to suicide. There is no acceptance when you feel you have nowhere to turn, and many transgender youth make that fatal choice. Sophia and I believe strongly in what we've started to do. We allowed them into our home with the promise that things can get better. We survived an awful lot together and have bonded immensely over the past year. Our former landlord in East Meadow evicted us for doing the right thing. It put a lot of pressure on us to stop housing the kids, but we refused. And we would do it again 100 times over. Now we're all renting a house together. The kids each have their own rooms there. They're both back in high school, and they're both totally supported in their gender identity at home and at the school. Whenever I relay this story, the most common response I get is, "Wow, I can't believe you even do that." And that's a shame. We really need to open our hearts more. And that's why I say we should love ourselves and love each other. We need to open our hearts and spread open our arms to support each other. This means between each other as transgender people and between transgender people and their families. To this day, my partner and my son both face continued rejection from their natal families, and thank goodness we all have each other. So let's start caring for our own community better, and with love, we can prevent transgender suicides and be a united force for societal changes. Thank you.